Okay, for math today, we are still working on inequalities, but today something new is going to happen that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. So let's look at number 1 in your notes for today. 5 minus 4n is less than 8 minus 5n. So I'm going to start by drawing my line down the symbol, and then step 1 would be distribute if you have it, but we don't. Step 2 would be combine like terms on the same side if you have it, but we don't. So step 3 is going to be move one of these variables to the other side. Remember, you can't solve an equation or an inequality if you have a variable on both sides of this line. So I am going to choose, it doesn't matter which one you move, but I'm going to choose to get rid of my minus 5n. So I'm going to do plus 5n. I'm going to add 5n on both sides. So these cancel. I'm going to bring down the 5. Negative 4n plus positive 5n is positive 1n. And then you've still got 8 over here. Now I'm just going to solve it like a normal two-step equation. Minus 5 on both sides. Cancel, cancel, bring down your n. You can leave a 1 there if you want, but it's the same thing as n, which means we're done. 8 minus 5 is 3. So a really quick review of how to graph this is I want you guys to find a spot to put your 3. Show me that you understand how number lines work by going bigger to the right, 4, 5, 6, and smaller to the left, 2, 1, 0. And then you need to show me that n is all the solutions that are less than 3. So if it's less than 3, it's going to be to the left of 3. These are all the numbers less than 3. And let's go ahead and put an arrow at the end showing this would continue to go forever. And then we do not fill in the bubble because n is only less than 3. It's not or equal to. So if it's not equal to 3, we're not going to shade in 3. Okay, this one should feel like a review. This one's something similar to what we've done before. That's not going to be the case in the entire notes paper. Like, let's go on to number 2, for example. So we don't have distribution, we don't have variables, or like terms on the same side of the line. So now we're looking at the variables and we have to move one of them to the other side. So this might look a little familiar from equation solving, but let's go ahead and see what you would do next. I'm going to subtract 5k from both sides. So let's see what happens here. 5k minus 5k is 0. They cancel out. But 5k minus 5k is also 0 over here and also cancels out. So let's take a look and bring down what we have left. We have a negative 7, and it's not equals. That's our previous lesson. This symbol is greater than or equal to. And then we have an 8 over here. So you have to ask yourself, is this a true or a false statement? So let's think about it. Is negative 7 greater than 8? If I have negative $7 in my lunch account, is that greater than if I would have had 8? Or equal to 8? No, it is not. This is not true. So this is a false statement, which means the answer is going to be no solution. Anytime it is not true, it is no solution. So let's think about what a no solution graph would look like. If I'm supposed to graph and shade in all of the solutions, but there's no solution, then that means my graph is done without anything being shaded. This is the answer. There's nothing shaded because there's no possible solution. Okay, let's try number 3. Number 3, I don't have distribution, I don't have like terms on the same side, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to moving one of the variables to the other side. I'm going to choose to get rid of this negative 3n by adding 3n on both sides. So I'm going to add 3n. They cancel over here. I'm going to bring down my negative 4 and bring down my symbol. 4n plus 3n is 7n, and I'm going to bring down my plus 10. So let's just keep going. Next step, I would get rid of this plus 10 by subtracting 10 on both sides. Cancel, cancel. Be really careful here. This is not 6 or negative 6. Negative 4 minus 10 more is all the way back to negative 14. And then you have 7n over here. Last step, divide both sides by 7. And remember, since we're dividing by a positive, we do not need to flip the symbol. Only flip the symbol if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative on both sides. So that would be negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and drop this on the number line as if you were doing this a few days ago and already know how to do this. Negative 2 is our number. To the right, the numbers get bigger, so that would be negative 1, 0, 1. To the left, they get smaller, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. And this one, be really careful. A lot of times people see the arrow pointing to the right, so they want to shade to the right. But you need to read it from the variable backwards. So from the variable, n is what symbol? N is actually everything less than negative 2. So less goes to the left. Arrow on the end. And then we do not fill in the bubble because it is not or equal to. Okay, number 4. Number 4, again, we don't have distribution. We don't have like terms to combine. So we're going to go ahead and move on to moving one of the variables to the other side. I'm going to move the negative 3y by adding 3y. This is not the only thing you could do. I just prefer to do this because I like to get rid of my negatives, if ever possible. So I'm going to bring down the 7, and then I'm going to add 9y plus 3y. 9y plus 3y is 12y. That's positive, so put a plus. Bring down your symbol. Bring down your 19. All right, next step would be get rid of the 7. We're going to subtract 7 on both sides. Bring down your 12y. Bring down your symbol. 19 minus 17 is 12. So we are next going to divide both sides by 12. We are not dividing by a negative, so we're not flipping the symbol again. But don't forget to do that. That's going to come up before long. So y is less than 1. So we're going to plot 1 on the number line. We're going to go 2, 3, 4 to the right, 0, negative 1, negative 2 to the left. And we're going to shade the solutions which y is representing. So y is representing everything less than 1. So less than is going to go to the left. And once again, we do not shade in the circle itself because it's not or equal to. If it could equal 1, we would shade it in. All right, number 5. We don't have distribution, but we do have like terms on the same side. So I would box these in and go ahead and combine these first. 9w minus 4w is 5w. Bring down your plus 6, bring down your 1, plus, 5w. You should be probably having a red flag moment right now. So let's continue. We're going to move a variable to the other side by subtracting 5w on both sides. You're going to cancel them out here, but they're also going to cancel out over here. And that leaves us with 6 is greater than or equal to 1. So we need to answer the question, true or false? Is 6 greater than or equal to 1? It doesn't have to be both. It has to be greater than or equal. So 6 is greater than 1. If I have $6 in my lunch account and you have 1, 6 is greater. So this is true. If it is a true statement, that means this inequality has infinitely many solutions. Infinitely many solutions. And I'm okay if you write IMS, but let's take a look at what that means on this graph. If we're supposed to represent all the answers in infinity, then you're just going to go ahead and darken in the entire number line. So I've had some students who actually want to go ahead and put a few numbers on here like 0, 1, 2, 3, and -1, -2, -3. But honestly, I don't even need you to do that. As long as you darken in the entire number line, I know that you understand that since it was a true statement, all of the answers in infinity are solutions. Okay, number 6. We do not have distribution, but we do have like terms over here to combine. So I'm going to start by combining my like terms. You can fill in the k with a 1k if you want, because when we're adding, I need you to know that's 3k plus 1k. So 3k plus 1k is 4k. I'm going to bring down my minus 1 and my symbol, and on the left, I'm just going to bring everything down, 4k minus 6. Okay, I see what's happening. We're going to go ahead and move one of the 4k's by subtracting it, and look what happens. Since we're subtracting 4k on both sides, they drop out. Variables completely cancel out, drop out of both sides. So you're left with, let's bring it down, negative 6 is less than negative 1. Let's think about that. Is negative 6 to the left of negative 1 less? Is that true or false? If it is true, which it is, negative 6 is smaller than negative 1. It's a greater negative, which means it's smaller. So since that's true, let's think about what that means. That means there are infinitely many solutions here. And let's represent it with a completely darkened in number line, because we are representing all the solutions, infinite solutions. Okay, let's move on to number 7. Number 7 has double distribution. You guys can do this. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24, so it looks like minus 24, is greater than, let's distribute on the other side, 4 times 2x is 8x, and then 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Okay, let's take a look at what happens here. Don't just stop and assume it's infinite solutions because it's the same thing over here as it is over here, because we need to talk about what the symbol means. So if we go ahead and subtract 8x off both sides, we know they're going to drop out and they're going to cancel out, and let's see what we're left with. So this statement actually reads negative 24 is greater than negative 24. Is negative 24 greater than negative 24? So it would need to say or equal to in order for it to be true. If it said or equal to, if it said negative 24 is greater than or equal to negative 24, then this would be true. This would be yes, because negative 24 equals negative 24, but that's not what it says. It says negative 24 is only greater. And so that means no, it is not. That is false. If it is a false statement, that means there is no possible solution, and you will leave your graph completely blank, meaning nothing on this number line would ever work. There's no possible solution. Okay, last one. If you want to, go ahead and push pause and try this last one on your own, and then push play again just to double check and see that you got it right. If you're not quite ready to do it on your own, I will work it out now. All right, let's distribute on both sides. On the left, you have 9 times p, which is 9p. You have 9 times 2, which is positive 18. On the right, when you distribute 3 times 3p, you have 9p. And 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. All right, I see something that's going to happen here, but let's go ahead and make it happen. Subtract 9p on both sides. So when you do that, the variables drop out on both sides. And that leaves us with, let's bring down what we have left, 18 is less than or equal to negative 15. So let's decide if it's true or false. $18 in my lunch account, is that less money than negative $15 or equal? It's actually more. 18 is definitely more than a negative number. So this is false. This is definitely false. And if this is a false statement, that means there's no possible solution. So again, a no solution graph is blank because there's nothing you could graph on here that would work. There's nothing that would be a solution here.